What is up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Trucking and Transportation, and I am sitting outside the dentist's office about to go in and get my damn tooth taken out. I cracked my rear tooth probably about 8 months ago, and I went to the dentist, and they told me, "Listen, bro, it's cracked all the way down to the roots. You got to take it. It's got to come out." Now, for somebody that's never had a cavity in their life, this is somewhat traumatizing. Not because I'm afraid to have the tooth taken out, but, you know, in my age range, 51 years old, next thing you know, it's going to be another tooth and another tooth. And before you know it, I'm be walking around with some dentures or some shit. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about was somebody asked a question about why I chose to go to Prime to get my CDL as opposed to going to an outside school. And basically, they framed that around the theory that I had enough money to pay for the school myself. So why did I choose to go to Prime? So let's kind of talk about that. Now, originally, I was planning on going to an outside school. Started doing a bunch of research, things like that. And a lot of these schools in Colorado were either the distance was too far to make it convenient for what I wanted to do, because if I was going to do it, I was going to try to work it around my work schedule at that time. So they were either too far away, or then you kind of started running up against some of these schools that maybe weren't accredited and things like that. So just to make things easier, I went ahead and just decided to go with Prime. Now, some of the advantages to going with Prime as opposed to, and this could be any other school, it could be Swift, CRSD, CR England, whatever, is that you pretty much go through the entire application process before you actually go to the CDL, or before you go there to get your CDL. And what can happen if you go get your CDL at one of these outside schools is you can actually get your CDL, all that stuff, only to find out that, the company that you wanted to apply for uh, won't hire you for whatever reason, or you might have things in your background that potentially no company would hire you for. So that's one reason to kind of go the route that I went, using a mega carrier school. Everybody's going to talk about the commitment. Listen, if you can't commit to something for a year, I mean, seriously, a year, that's 365 days. That's 52 weeks. I mean, that's 12 months. I mean, that's not a lot of time to commit to. Worst case scenario, let's say that you go there and you don't end up fulfilling that year, then you owe, I think in Prime's case, it was, man, I don't want to throw a number out there, but it really wasn't that extreme of a number. So I won't post that out there. I don't really know what it is. You can find that out on Prime's website. But really, all you have to do is pay that back. And if for some reason you didn't have the money to pay it back and you got hired at another carrier, I'm hearing that some of these carriers are actually paying that loan back as well. So it cuts down a little bit of the headache just to go directly through the carrier that you plan on running with. Now, some of the things that I did see when I was there were some people that did get their CDL outside of Prime. Uh, and what ended up happening, depending on, and I saw two different cases. One went to an accredited school that had all the hours, all that stuff, to where they did not need to go back out on the pad and do any training or anything like that. They went right ahead, got their truck, hit the road. There was another person for their TNT training, because they did have to do that. Another person, actually another couple people I knew, had their CDLs, but their school wasn't accredited. So while they had their CDL, they ended up having to get, let's just call it, recertified by Prime. I don't believe that costs any money, or they went under contract for that. I'm not sure. But then it was almost essentially doing the same thing over again as in terms of the schooling went. And then they went out on the road. So one thing I will say is, if you do plan on uh, going to an outside school, make sure that it's accredited. Maybe get the name of the school and call the carrier that you might want to go to, and see if that school is an accredited school with them, where you won't have to, basically take, go through everything you would have to take to get the CDL all over again. So, really, the only reason I would see that it would be a benefit to go to an outside school, outside of, being under contract. But like I said, it's a year. So, I mean, I don't know what, a year is not, I mean, I could do anything for a year. So that really wasn't a holdup. But if you belong to one of these states, or maybe you're on unemployment or something like that, where it can get paid for by an outside source, whether it be federal or state programs, things like that, that may be a reason why I would do it. But other than that, I don't see any issues with going to, Prime specifically, or any other mega carrier to get your CDL. Now, I happen to be a military veteran, so my contract was only 9 years. So if you happen to 9 months, so if you happen to be a military veteran, keep that in the back of your mind as well. I think that some other schools outside of Prime also have that lower commitment. Another thing to think about when you choose your schooling through some of these, we're just going to call them mega carriers. I do know one of these companies where, and I forget which one, but they actually make you sign a contract, get the financing, all that kind of stuff, and then they pay you back a little bit every month to pay off the schooling. That's not a good plan. That's one I probably wouldn't do. But if they're saying, we're going to train you, you sign this contract, you give us a year, and you're free and clear, that's a good way to go. Anyway, hope that helps. I'm going to go in here and get this tooth taken out and go from there. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. See you on the next one.